If you're retired or within 5 years of retiring, please listen closely. The market doesn't have to crash to wreck your retirement. It only has to hit you hard, early, while you're withdrawing. The first decade is what I call the danger zone. That's where good people, disciplined people, accidentally turn a temporary downturn into permanent damage. Today I'm going to show you a couple things. The first thing is 5 threats that ambush retirees. And the second thing is going to be a simple flight plan to fly straight through that turbulence. Because retirement isn't about being brave. It is about standing tall when the smoke clears. And before we get rolling, let me say thank you. To the new subscribers, welcome aboard. And to my pilot buddies reaching out to me literally from all over the world, I really appreciate you guys. This channel was sitting around 50 subscribers on December the 20th. And now we just shot over 1,000 in less than 2 weeks. That tells me a couple of things. It tells me that a lot of people are hungry for retirement talk that isn't fluff and certainly is not a sales pitch. So thank you for being here. When we retire, we move from the known to the unknown. It can be gut-wrenching, literally overnight. One day you've got to schedule a mission and a paycheck you can set your watch to. Then you open up your banking app one day and there's a big old goose egg where that paycheck used to be. And that's the moment it hits you. You just moved from wealth accumulation to wealth preservation. Same money, different missions. And the first 10 years are critical because the decision you make early have a way of echoing for a long time. That's what today's show is all about, and it's going to be called The Danger Zone. I'm retired after 36 years as an airline pilot for a major airline, and I still run a consulting business that keeps me connected to several active duty pilots, many of them speeding rapidly towards retirement. Look, after countless conversations, one thing became crystal clear. A lot of smart, disciplined people are more vulnerable than they think, particularly in those early years. That's why I started this show, to help you transition into retirement with dignity, focusing on health, wealth, travel, and family. A quick disclaimer, this show is educational. It's not personal financial advice. Talk to a qualified professional before making big moves. And here's the big game changer. AI lets everyday people run the financial version of a simulator, stress testing retirement outcomes in minutes, not months. In aviation, we use simulators to test hundreds of scenarios because some outcomes aren't salvageable. Same idea in retirement. And the danger zone, well, it's a hydra-headed beast. It comes at you from multiple directions. So let's hit the 5 big threats, then I'll give you a highlighted flight plan. One is personal. It's not financial, it's loss of identity. You go from being Captain Somebody to regular Joe on the street, literally within a second. Work gives you structure, purpose, a scoreboard. In retirement, that can vanish very quickly. And when identity gets shaky, people do weird things. You overspend to feel alive. You chase risky investments or drift and isolate. Retirement isn't a money change, it's a meaning change. Ah, yes, threat number 2, that's the monster behind the door, sequence of return risks. I cannot beat that drum hard enough or often enough. If markets get hit early while you're withdrawing, your portfolio can take damage that's hard to recover from, just like in the simulator. Here's the simple version. When you're working, a downturn is mostly noise. You're still contributing. Really, who cares? But when you're retired and withdrawing, a downturn is a threat because you're selling shares at lower prices. You don't need a crash. A few bad years early on can change your entire flight plan. Threat number 3 is the surprise spending shock. How about that roof? How about your HVAC, your car, medical, helping out the kids? Life doesn't stop just because you're retired. Retirement plans don't fail because people are stupid. They fail because real life shows up. And I'll be honest with you, some of these things are hitting me right on the end of the nose right now. Threat number 4, rigid withdrawal in a flexible world. Some retirees pull the same amount out year after year, no matter what the market does. That's like trying to land with a locked ladder. You might get away with it but why? In retirement, flexibility is not weakness. Flexibility is survival. But 5, those are what I call the cliffs. They come in the form of taxes, Medicare, and Social Security decisions. Retirees get ambushed by tax brackets, Medicare premium surcharges, and Social Security timing. Individually, these are manageable. Together, they can punch you right on the end of the nose. So now let's look at part 2, what I call the flight plan. And first, we'll dive into what I call the 3-bucket strategy. So how do you fly through this danger zone? You need a strategy and the discipline to stick to it. Here's the flight plan, the 3-bucket strategy. Bucket number 1, call this your cash cushion bucket. 2 years of spending in liquid low-risk reserves. This prevents panic selling. If you can stretch that out to 5 years, even better, because most downturns take more than 2 years to recover some. Bucket number 2, that's the stability bucket, bonds and steady assets. This bucket refills bucket 1 in normal markets. And then we look at bucket number 3, the most important one of all. This is the one I call the growth engine. This is the compounding bucket. Don't force it to do short-term work. If you've got these buckets, you're not depending on the market to cooperate every year. Let me show you something very quickly. This is my own portfolio structure. I don't show you balances because that doesn't really help you. What matters is the structure. You'll see broad U.S. equities, you'll see international equities, bonds, inflation protection, and a cash reserve. And a quick checklist item, I treat VMFXX, my money market fund, as part of fixed income because it's my cash reserve. When you count that with my bond funds, my overall mix is approximately 60% equity and 40% fixed income. That 40% isn't about getting rich. It's about staying alive through the danger zone. And now we're going to talk about 5 golden rules. A golden rule number 1, withdrawal order matters. Which accounts you pull from affects taxes and Medicare premiums, and sometimes dramatically. No plan means improvisation. And now let's take a look at golden rule number 2. Please don't wing it. Run the math. Understand what bracket you're filling and what you trigger downstream by doing this. Sometimes conversions are brilliant. Sometimes they're a stealth tax grenade. And now for golden rule number 3, which is IRMAA is all-seeing. And if you don't know what IRMAA means, it stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. If you cross certain income thresholds and Medicare premiums, they can jump. Know those triggers before you get surprised. And golden rule number 4, Social Security is a strategy. Taking it earlier can reduce pressure on your portfolio. Delaying increases later guaranteed income. There's no one size fits all. In my case, I started at 67. And now for golden rule number 5, flex spending beats the 4% religion. In bad years, flex down. In good years, refill your cash cushion, maybe even flex up a little bit. That's how you keep control. And folks, I've got upcoming episodes that are going to deal with Medicare trap called IRMAA, Roth conversions the smart way, and Social Security timing for couples. So welcome to everyone in or contemplating retirement. Health is wealth, and wealth is freedom.